was rejected by a matchmaker this week. When we met, I told her what I was looking for, including the fact that I'm very, very type A, organized. I like to be the leader. I told her I was looking for someone that was at or above the same income level as me. I also told her I was looking for a man who was also a leader because I don't want to always be the leader, believe it or not.
Welcome to TikTok. TikTok is a magical place where you can learn how to get really good at cooking with a bunch of 1-minute videos. You can listen to fun conspiracy theories, and you can learn where all the good places to go in your local area are. But then there's this trash part of TikTok where women with mental health issues justify anorexia by calling it girl dinner, or worse, women who tend to be terrible with money will give relationship advice and talk about how they deserve a man who will buy them a Ferrari after the first date when their personality is garbage and they don't reciprocate good deeds in the relationship.
If a man can't spend $75 or $100 on a first date, he just shouldn't be dating. If a man wants to take you on a walk or go for coffee on the first date, say no thanks and move on. A friend of mine was all excited because this guy took her to Crumble Cookie. She's this super sweet 19-year-old girl. And she was so excited and I didn't want to crush her heart about it. But I was like, yeah, that's nice, but I'm literally not impressed. He bought you a $4 cookie.
Yeah, because certainly how well they connected doesn't matter. All this girl should care about is how much he spent. Lady, she's 19, which means the guy probably is not that much older. He doesn't have $100 to spend on first dates because unless he's a trust fund kid, most 19-year-olds are broke. How is this woman going to go to her friend who had a great time and tell her, actually you didn't have a good time because he only spent $4 on you? Well, it's $5 with taxes, but lovely advice. Somebody please tell this woman that there's a difference between appreciating when nice things are done for you or when expensive purchases are made, and expecting guys to spend a ton of money on you or else. Have fun dating a doormat or being single. Speaking of, let's get back to our main subject of this video, whose name is Danielle. Danielle is a striving wife-to-be who is a little down on her luck, so she has decided to hire a matchmaker to help her out. Let's continue.
When talking about what I didn't like in a man, I said I could never really be with a beta type man. I specifically used the word doormat. I said I would chew them up and spit them out. And her response was, well, I married that type of man.
You're going to have to get with a doormat guy. No hypermasculine man who can overcome that girl boss energy is going to want to put up with you. You either need to soften up or find a guy who likes being bossed around.
And she was asking me, do I meditate? No. Do I journal? No. She was saying that, men really like a soft woman and I should try some of these vision board, journaling, meditating type of things. Would never going to be that type of person.
Yeah, the matchmaker is completely right. This girl Danielle is super high strung and needs to bring her energy down a bit. After watching a lot of her TikTok videos, I can imagine that every moment of her relationship with her is just a constant argument over nothing. I don't know about vision boards or whatever, but journaling her day-to-day experiences so she can go back and reflect on them would be very helpful. And meditation would also be very helpful. Meditation is not woo-woo BS. It actually works, particularly for people who are high-strung, have anxiety issues, or things like OCD. I'm not saying that this will cure cancer or give you superpowers, but learning how to consciously shift your attention away from anxiety or negativity, or learning how to bring your energy levels down, can be really useful from a psychological standpoint. This is probably what the matchmaker was trying to tap into, but Danielle seems to miss the point on every part of this interaction.
She also said that she could sense I had some walls up, which of course I'm coming to meet a woman who I'm asking to find my future husband at the rate of several $1,000s. I, of course, am going to be here really just trying to interview you, my dear friend, because I want to know if I'm going to get my money's worth with you. So of course I'm going to have some walls up. I also think it's perfectly normal to have some walls up when you are meeting someone for the very first time and who also had not taken the time to do her own research on me by stalking me on the internet. She definitely didn't have time because she asked for my socials no more than 1 hour before our meeting.
I can just imagine Danielle looking through every social media post of whatever guy she just met on Hinge and showing up to the date saying, so on March 8th of 2017 at 4:35 p.m., you made a joke I found offensive. Would you care to explain yourself? But anyway, why would a matchmaker stalk you on social media? Dating is all about first impressions, especially if you're using apps instead of meeting people through your social groups. So the whole point of this consultation is to see how you interact with people on the first time you see them. Obviously, she failed at this.
So I asked her if she thought I would be ready for her services. Her response, she essentially said that I am not ready for her type of services because I have too much work to do. My walls are too high and I'm not ready for a long-term committed relationship at the ripe age of 38, where I have been in therapy for 10 plus years.
Your therapist didn't tell you to journal in those 10 plus years? This is not the flex you think it is. If you're not going to listen to people's advice, then why are you wasting money on these services? Like I said, being in a relationship with this lady must be one of the most frustrating experiences on the planet. You're wrong about everything, I'm perfect, and I don't need to fix anything about myself or listen to other people's perspectives. Therapy has to be impossible on a woman like this. How do you get her to self-reflect and admit to wrongdoing? Well, the answer is you don't, considering that she refused the recommendation of multiple self-reflection exercises from the Matchmaker. I think people like Danielle only really learn from severe life consequences.
Essentially, I spent $350 to meet with this woman, have her tell me I am not worthy of love as I am, but the fact that I need to change in order to be worthy of love and partnership. Which honestly, I think for that reason alone, she should have her matchmaking license taken away, because we shouldn't be pushing on these narratives that people are not worthy as they are. It is dangerous commentary, and the fact that she said this to my face had some audacity.
I can't wait for her to instantly contradict that in some other piece of content she's made. But okay, I'll get right to making a report to the National Association of Matchmakers to make sure that this woman gets her Class A license and board certification revoked. Jokes aside, if you're poorly tempered and annoying, then you aren't deserving of love. You are not fine the way you are, and it's not a coincidence that the people who say, "I'm fine the way I am," tend to be the most insufferable people. They haven't done any actual self-work, and if Danielle is still acting like this after 10 years of therapy, then she's just LARPing as a patient.
Well, we're celebrating my 38th birthday tonight, and we are going to wash all of what she said aside. I am so excited. And we're going to believe that no matter the type of woman you are, love is out there for you. We are not going to listen to this toxic narrative.
Keep doing that and see how it works out for you. So anyway, this is not the only video of Danielle that's gone viral. She has many videos about her dating life and the guys that she interacts with. Let's see how that's going.
This is how you do not plan a freaking date. You are going to get rejected. I am here going to show you with receipts. I pulled this one from the archive. Let's get into it. I had been on one date with this man, and I got right in that group chat after the first date telling the girlies, I think this guy is great. I had such a nice time with him. We had so much fun. We had a lot in common. I could not wait to go on a second date with him.
That's a great admission. If this woman goes on a first date with you and likes you, but you slightly offend her while planning the second date, she will use you for content. I hope none of her future dates stalk her on social media before going out, because this would be grounds for ghosting. Reputation is a big deal, and guys should not go near women who do this for content.
I could not wait to go on a second date with him. A week or so later, he finally texts me and is like, "Hey, are you free Sunday for brunch?" I'm like, "Yeah, great." That Saturday night, he sends me this text, "Are you still up for brunch?" Yes, I'm still up for brunch. You're saying that 5 p.m. on Saturday, brunch assumingly would be Sunday, noon, 1. Yeah, what are you thinking? I could come your way if you know a good spot.
She's rolling her eyes here because she's mad that the guy isn't doing all the planning for the date. Not every woman wants that, but a lot of women do because it shows leadership skills, so I actually don't think this is a ridiculous expectation from Danielle. Finding good places to go is not that hard. You just go onto TikTok and type in your local area, along with fun date ideas. It literally takes 10 minutes, including the time it takes to book the reservation online. I'm going to give her a victory on this one, but not a complete victory, because the main problem here is not that Danielle has the expectation that the guy plans the date, it's how she handled this situation.
Okay, let me do the heavy lifting for you, buddy. So I give him a list of these places and I add, "Not sure if any take a res," meaning, "Hey buddy, I'm giving you 3 options of places I'd like to go, but you are gonna have to do the footwork to determine whether or not they even require reservations. A lot of brunch places don't, or what the deal is." He says, "Oh, the Dutch Eye." Not even sure what that means. Like, oh, is that a plan? No.
So she misinterprets his message saying that he wants to go to the Dutch and sticks with her confrontational attitude instead of doing something like asking for clarification or saying, "Sounds great," as a way of confirming that she wants to go there so he can then make the reservation. And for the one person that cares, I did spend about 10 seconds looking it up, and the Dutch does take reservations. But do you see what I mean when I said this girl is a headache? Instead of counteracting his lack of plans with something like, I don't really have a preference, I'm more interested in seeing what you like, she immediately goes, well, I guess I'll do all the work here for this loser, who, by the way, I said was great a few seconds ago. Now, I know women love being told this, so I'll say, calm down, Danielle. Do some meditation. Every action from this guy doesn't have to be perfect, and chances are that you're doing some imperfect things too. You already said you thought he was great on the first date, and this isn't that big of a deal. So it's better to assume ignorance and think that maybe he hasn't been with a woman who thought this was super important before you call him lazy. But it's really ironic that she said that everyone is deserving of love just as they are, while being so judgmental the minute a guy she really likes makes a slightly wrong move.
So then that morning, I get a text from him, howdy, how does two sound? I never heard back from him the night before, so what do I say? Oh, when I didn't hear back last night about a reservation or anything concrete, I made plans for this afternoon. You cannot, for a second date, try and make plans the morning of. Even less than 24 hours. Like, your girl is busy. We are not sitting around waiting for you to reach out.
Okay, so this is the craziest thing ever. So you can see that she leaves him on red after he tells her where he wants to go, and now it's his fault that she didn't respond back the night before. Obviously, he's not going to double text the same night because you know how insane women like Danielle can get about that. So this follow-up message from him is basically saying, hey, you didn't respond back last night when I picked the place. Does 2 p.m. sound okay? I mean, Danielle is so confrontational about this follow-up. The matchmaker was absolutely right. She's too immature for a long-term relationship. She fails to communicate and then passive-aggressively makes other plans around the time that they were supposed to go on a second date. The reason that you're having terrible success with this is because you aren't making finding a husband a priority. If you were making it a priority, then after the unclear text interaction from the night before, you would have planned to do something like chores or catch up on emails if the date didn't work out, and then maybe get dinner with your friends instead of lunch. Planning a whole other activity during the time that you were supposed to go on the date was stupid. This guy isn't doing anything outlandish here, and he texted you at 9:45 a.m. for a date for 2 p.m., which is plenty of time to get ready. And honestly, if marriage was a priority for you and this guy was a guy that you said that you can't wait to go on a second date with, you could have just canceled your other plans. I'm sure your friends would understand. Now, I will give her a little bit of leeway here by saying that, again, I looked up the restaurant and the Dutch is actually pretty reasonably priced. So I think it's great that Danielle is not demanding that her date take her to a restaurant that charges like $50 for waffles to meet some arbitrary price requirement. I don't even think that brunch at this restaurant would come close to $100 for 2 people like that chick from earlier said a date had to, unless they drink or order a bunch of extras. So Danielle gets points for not being a TikTok gold digger. She's just high-strung. But this isn't that complicated. She wants to get married, right? She's out there doing yoga saying, I'm gonna find someone someday who might actually treat me well. Not if you're busy trying to actively find reasons to reject guys who are into you that you said you liked. This right here just seems like it was a waste of money.
We are now 12 days into me injecting myself twice a day in order to freeze my eggs as a 37-year-old woman who is single with no man in sight, but wanting to make sure I preserve opportunity for myself. I've spent $11,000 out of my own pocket, no insurance coverage to do this.
I try to be optimistic for people and wish them the best, but the likelihood that these frozen eggs are ever going to get used is low. She has about 2 years of genuine and aggressive mental health work before she's mature enough for a serious relationship. She'll be 40 by then because she was 38 when she got rejected by the matchmaker. Actually, almost 39 at this point because that was a while ago. And then you have 2 or 3 years to go from just meeting somebody before you're ready to have a child with them? This is all assuming that everything goes perfectly, by the way. But at this point, she should drop the idea of having biological children and instead just focus on finding someone to spend time with. Or she can be the crazy girl boss aunt.
But either way, I was like, this has to be one of the laziest attempts at putting a second date together. Bro, second date, what are you doing? You missed out is what happened. Sorry.
What he missed out on, a Chinese parade? Now, everybody on the internet loves a good dumpster fire, and though that last clip ends the video, fortunately, there's a follow-up.
Have an update on the Dutch eye. He messaged me Sunday morning. Hey, good morning. And I about died, y'all. Honestly, I was like, oh my God, did he see the viral TikTok and he is coming for me? But nope, he just wanted to check in, see how I was doing. Then he asks about a second date.
This is like the weirdest thing ever. She made this viral video crapping on him and making fun of him publicly, and she's going to go for a round 2? This has to be just for the content, right? Because unless she is immediately transparent about the viral video that she made and she brings it up in a way that can be laughed about, that relationship has no chance. Nobody should be with a partner who publicly shames them and uses them for social media clout. That is a major failure on maintaining good relationship boundaries.
So I respond, yes, I'd love to, because I would. The next part of the communication is where I just get confused. Let's know, when are you free? Do you want to go here? There's no forward movement.
I feel like interacting with this girl is like playing a video game. There's this great video this guy made about introducing his wife to video games for the first time, where he let her figure out game logic, and she's like, why can't I just climb this thing normally? I can do that in real life. Yeah, but it's a video game, so you can't.
Even the 3D games that seemed like they might be more straightforward had a few things that ended up being confusing for her. For example, in Uncharted 2, what a player can climb is indicated by being colored yellow, but that wasn't obvious to her, so she constantly tried to climb things that just looked like they could be climbed. And then she questioned why she had to take the longer, more roundabout path when there were perfectly good handholds right above her.
So there's a certain logic that you have to follow with Danielle, like video game logic, that you just have to know or things don't make sense. And it feels like if you're going to have a successful conversation with her, then you need to follow a very specific script. And if you go off that script, she just short circuits and has no idea what to do.
I will say, you all in my comments said that I needed to be more forthcoming with communication as well. So I did ask for what I want and communicated my needs. I said I love a solid plan, so the ball is in your court. I'm free Saturday.
This is a shock. She's taking feedback. She got all kinds of responses to that second date video. And while many of them were outright harassment and threats, which is cringe, don't do that, but while many of these comments were from losers who can't laugh at dumb videos without making it personal, a number of them contained useful feedback that she actually listened to. This response here is pretty decent. I love a solid plan, so the ball is in your court. I'm free Saturday. It's not mean, it's not confrontational, it's to the point and lets him know what her preferences are so he's not just guessing. Now he can decide if he's okay with that and if this is the type of person he wants to be with.
And he said he'll plan something as we get closer. So we will see what happens.
So I've actually been sitting on this video for a while because this year a random video of mine turned into a huge drama. But I believe I found out about this event while it was happening and the next season wasn't out yet, which means I didn't have it saved on my computer already. And that's a problem because this happened months ago and Danielle posts on TikTok more than a meme account posts on Twitter. And TikTok's search function is horrendous. But after over an hour of watching random videos, I finally found the next installment.
We have our last and final update on the Dutch guy. You might recall that in the last video I posted, he wanted to do something this Saturday, and I said to him, I like a solid plan, so the ball's in your court. And he texted me yesterday, let's check the receipts. I think we should do something for the Flyers game on Saturdays. I let this text sit for a while. Number one, that sounds fun. Number two, I just was thinking so hard about whether or not this is the guy for me and thinking, I don't want to lead him on, but maybe I give it another chance. And then I'm not going to lie, I had a lot of guilt about the fact that there have been viral videos about this poor guy. This is what I replied. To be honest, I'm not feeling it. I'm sorry for dragging this out. I wish you the best, which I think was a kind way to say thanks, but no thanks. And we're going to move on to the next. That case is officially closed.
So he makes a plan and she rejects him anyway. That's a good message to send. Though I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt on this one and say that she rejected him out of guilt for the viral videos, and she knew that would kill the relationship, so why waste time? I guess we'll call it her being gracious after she did something dumb. I will add that after spending a while looking for all the relevant TikTok videos, I found that she got a new matchmaker after she was rejected by the first one. However, that was 7 months ago and she was still kind of doing failed dating videos, so I don't think she kept up with it. And I don't know, this might just be the bad interpretation of someone on the outside looking in, but if you're looking for a life partner, then maybe the basis of a large portion of your content should not be this.
Another rejection story. I know you guys love them. Another rejection story. Another rejection story. I gotta give you guys the background on this one. Another rejection story. And no, I am not excited to share this one. And I might cry because I was so excited about this guy.
She's living her life like she's a Sex and the City character, and her ability to get views kind of hinges on her being unsuccessful at dating. Not only will she lose viewers if she succeeds in her relationships, but every guy who goes on more than one date with her is going to worry if they're going to be publicly shamed if the relationship doesn't work out. It's why I say that people shouldn't be crapping on their current relationship partners or their exes on social media. It's not appropriate. But I think a big part of the problem here that is making situations like Danielle's worse is that a ton of the people giving relationship advice on the internet are grifters and trash people who are just looking to make money or get attention, and not people who are genuinely trying to get others to better their lives and be in healthy relationships. Not to say that you can't help people while making money, but there's a difference between that and selling a narrative that you know isn't true so you can profit. On the male side, you have Fresh and Fit, a team that just gets funnier and funnier. We have PUA dating expert Myron, whose declaration of heterosexuality is very questionable these days. And then there's Walter, or Fresh Prince CEO, a guy who is busy having unprotected sex with high-end prostitutes. I mean, the fact that anybody believes that this guy had enough charisma to have sex with over 1,000 women is insane.
Hey, how's it going? Hey, where y'all from?
We don't want to talk. I'm sorry.
Wait, what's up? Wait.
Oh, we're just not interested. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, hold on. Let's go for a ride in my car then. How about right there, right over there?
Car?
It's my car, yeah.
Oh, hi.
What's your name?
Yeah, Lina.
Oh, Walter, nice to meet you. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Zoe.
Nice to meet you. You're my kid, by the way. Really nice.
Thank you.
I like your outfit.
Is your car? Thank you.
Yeah, right here, yeah. So like, you know,
Nice car.
yeah, I do real estate. I also do like, you know, taxes, all that stuff. So, you know, I make money. I mean, you guys could like double up. You could head to like get some drinks or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, we can do that.
head to my penthouse later, just chill, all that good stuff.
okay.
Maybe we should do like a threesome or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, stranger that I've known for less than 60 seconds who has to instantly brag about how much money he makes. How about we get into this car and go back to your place? No, this totally isn't something a kidnapper would do. I mean, geez, Walter, if you're going to make an obviously scripted video, at least make it look like you know the smallest thing about women. Now, as for the Daisy stuff, the high-end sex worker that he allegedly got pregnant, yes, he can say he didn't know that she was an escort. There's no way to disprove that. However, having unprotected sex with a woman that you don't know is insane because she might turn out to be a crazy woman who tries to baby trap you. Don't you run a podcast that talks about this stuff? Now, we also don't have evidence that the baby was Walter's because there was never a DNA test, but the fact that he immediately told her to get an abortion is certainly more proof that he isn't trad. Fresh and Fit are liars. Traditional men don't strive to have 50 sexual partners before marriage, nor do they strive to make enough money to cheat on their wives. I mean, these guys literally preach the same values as woke feminism. And another little funny moment that happened between Fresh and his escort friend Daisy is that she said that Fresh admitted to her that the 1,000+ body count was a lie. Yeah, no shit. These DMs are courtesy of Tree of Logic, who was talking to Daisy to get the full story before Daisy helped to outright dox her. Turns out between Walter and Daisy, both parties are assholes, which makes the drama way more fun. So on the male side, it's people like that modeling degeneracy in front of tons of guys, and on the women's side, it's the high standards girlies who are telling everyone that the only good guys out there are guys who will constantly throw money at you to impress you.
Princess treatment only, and I just met a guy who does just that. If you're new here, welcome to my dating diaries where I overshare my dating life in New York. This guy slid into my DMs on Instagram saying that my dating diaries are very downtown based and I should have an Uptown edition, so let's call this guy Uptown Man.
Ignoring the Billy Joel reference, let me enlighten you guys on how this stuff works. This is some insider information from the creator's side. Our princess treatment girly said that this guy slid into her DMs on Instagram. Now, if you've ever had a woman with a sizable following show you her Twitter DMs or her Instagram DMs, then you can see that they will be full of simps, but also a number of celebrities that you might recognize, especially the older celebrities, and they will message these girls and basically say, I saw your page, I have lots of money and I'm famous, wanna bang? And no, it's not just a scammer pretending to be Johnny Depp or whoever, it's Instagram and Twitter, so you can verify that these people are who they say they are by the checkmark and their follower count. So I guess non-celebrity rich guys do this too, and I'm not going to show it, but this princess treatment girly is, let's say, not the most modest person on social media. So it's already bordering on sugar baby / escort behavior.
I asked what a night Uptown entails, and he said shopping at Hermes and dinner at Danielle. Once I arrived, I met him inside the store, and I was greeted with champagne, and then we went straight to the shoe section. I tried on the Oron sandals and was debating between the brown and white. He preferred the white, so I went with that.
For guys who don't know what Hermes is, it's a luxury brand / real-life loot box company where women have to, buy stuff at the store and rizz the staff up so they can have the chance of buying a purse that costs 5 figures. I have no idea how this is a legal business strategy, but women fall for it. This has to be at least as scummy as the Mr. Beast illegal lottery scandals, except when you win the Hermes lottery, you have to pay more money. Look at this. Someone on Twitter said he bought her the cheapest shoes there. So much for princess treatment and dating a generous provider man. This has all the energy of, we can go to the nice restaurant, but you have to order off the kids menu.
We then checked out and we walked over to Daniel. Uptown man was an extreme gentleman and he told me he believes in princess treatment only. He talked me up like no other and told me I'm so worldly for a 21-year-old.
You're so mature for your age. That is such a common predator line that South Park dedicated a whole episode to making fun of it. Not saying that he's a predator, but that line is such a red flag that initially I was going to say that this guy's like 100 after hearing it, but she later clarified in a follow-up video that he was in his late 20s. Not exactly sure if I believe her though, because on the internet you can just lie. But despite that, randomly hitting up a girl's Instagram DMs and saying, "You're so mature for your age," is not really the behavior of a guy who's looking for a long-term relationship. That is a guy who's looking to essentially pay for sex from a young 21-year-old.
We talked about our favorite spots in London, Paris, and Saint-Tropez. That's when I told him I'm going to Paris at the end of this week, and he offered to make me reservations while I'm there. This was the best part. At the end of dinner, he offered to bring me back to the kitchen to meet the chef at the restaurant.
Bro, this guy has the game plan down. Shopping at Hermes, the expensive restaurant, saying, "Hold on, I know the chef." What's next? Is he going to name drop a bunch of famous people he knows to impress you? This is a guy who doesn't know how to socialize and get women with his personality, so he leads with his money and his network, which probably means that he's a boring guy who has to use leverage to get people to like him instead of personal connection. Nobody respects people who do this.
Before going our separate ways, we made plans to see each other once I'm back in town. He then called me a car and texted me immediately after. Uptown man sets the bar extremely high. Ladies, don't listen to any dusty man when they tell you your standards are too high.
If he wanted to, he would. If a guy doesn't spend a shitload of money on you for the first date, then he's a dusty. Oh my God, she does not get what just happened. She thinks that guy was buying her $700 shoes from Hermes because he's generous and believes in princess treatment. I understand that you're mature for your age, but you are still barely out of high school compared to someone who is well into adulthood, so let me level with you. Here's how men work. If you meet a guy through Instagram DMs and he spends over $1,000 on you for a first date, he is not looking for a long-term relationship, he's looking to buy you. Real relationships are about human connection, not about how much money someone will spend on you. Of course, money is important. I don't think women should date men who are completely broke or have no ambition or are bad with money. I'm also for buying nice things for the woman that I'm with if it's a long-term relationship. However, I would not be caught dead spending that much money on a girl that I just met, even if I was horrendously rich, even if spending $1,000 to me was like spending 50 cents to the average person. I would never spend that much money on a first date. Not only is that highly inappropriate because you're using spectacle to attract a woman rather than your own personality, but it's also a great way to find a woman who will spend you into the poverty line. Desire is infinite, resources are limited, and no one can out-earn bad spending habits. Anyway, a lot of this high-value princess treatment girly advice is given by young women who don't know they're being bought by a guy who's not actually looking to commit, or the advice is given by straight-up prostitutes.
There's lots of TikToks and Reels and Shorts of women influencers with a rich older guy buying them expensive gifts. Often these influencers will flaunt expensive items while telling their female audiences that their man just loves them so much and that's why he showers them with presents. But they never admit that the relationship is usually a sex work transaction in which they entertain these men's fantasies for money. They're influencers, yes, but they're also sugar babies and escorts.
To add to this, I know I've criticized Caleb Hammer's show in the past for being purposefully over the top and having people pretend to be dumber than they actually are to get views, but did you all see this episode with the spiritual coach who makes $80,000 a year?
My main thing is I am a spiritual coach.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
How does that go?
How does that go?
It's like therapy or...
It's not therapy. It's a hybrid between online coaching, online courses.
Wow, she really has a difficult time describing the details of her job. I wonder why.
How long have you been doing this full time?
I mean, in the last few years.
Okay, so a couple of years bringing personal business to pretty much $80,000 a year.
When I started making more money, I wasn't used to making that much money, and then wanting to live in a mindset of abundance. So it's like, I want to buy.
Why? Why live in a mindset of abundance?
Because it feels good.
Oh, because it feels good. I'm glad we're doing things that feel good.
Abundance mindset just means that you're bad with money and have a shopping addiction. Rich people with the abundance mindset don't spend their money on a new wardrobe every week when they make $80,000 a year. They save that money or funnel it back into their business or other investments. But anyway, did you know that this woman is actually a sex worker who most certainly lies about her age? This is like the oldest looking 27-year-old that I've seen in my life. So when I watched that episode, I was very curious how she pulled in $80K a year from being a spiritual coach when her life was such a mess. Usually spiritual coach or life coach is not the most lucrative career outside of like 3 of them who have a book deal. So it's suspicious how such a clueless person can make so much money doing it. I'm not going to show much of her website because that's a great way to get age restricted, but she definitely sells not safe for work content, and it seems like she uses the spiritual coaching grift as a front for straight up prostitution. Explain this. Why do I need to do a mandatory screening and know your dress size and shoe size just to get a massage? This is obviously a sugar baby / sex worker ad, and it's not even that well hidden. But anyway, this is not that uncommon. Remember the wizard Liz and her incredibly suspicious origin story? Liz has this suspicious viral moment that could have easily been scripted, where she told off a photographer who called her fat.
Moi, je suis 10 ans dans la photographie, donc.
I don't care how many years you have. You can't tell people to not eat until the next shoot, because that will develop an eating disorder. You are very lucky that I am secure in my body and that I love myself. But if there was another model who was standing here and was insecure about her body, that one comment that you made would literally make her go insane. And I shouldn't lose anything because I'm already very skinny. And even if I wasn't, you're not the one to tell me what to do with my body.
I'm not sure how this was secretly filmed when Liz is perfectly in frame and the camera is not distorted at all, as if it were in a bag or something. If a friend was holding a cell phone to film this, you'd be able to see it. But clearly Liz does not care about what that photographer said because she'll make a video about weight loss with a thumbnail that shows her at a normal weight next to a picture where she looks underweight. Not only that, but she is, or at least was, super secretive about her past and how she was able to move from Belgium or whatever to Dubai from being flued out by a millionaire at like 19. Now tell me, how does Liz somehow randomly have access to the communities of multiple rich men despite living in a foreign country? She said that she left her home country because there was nothing there, and she came from poverty, so how exactly did she meet a rich foreigner? Well, seeking arrangement or sugar baby websites would make that easy. Like, there is so much evidence that Liz is getting these guys because she's a sugar baby who listens to Shira, and not because she's so high value and has high standards.
You know what the issue was? Like, for example, he was 26, okay? And I'm 24. I don't date in my age range because I'm used to dating 8-year-olds. I'm used to dating 8-year-olds. I'm used to dating very old people. No, I'm used to dating like guys in their like 30s, you know? Mm-hmm. And my ex, he was like 32, but he was like a child and I was like his mother, you know? I'm very like emotionally a lot mature.
Wow. Do I need to leave you alone? Just give yourself compliments the whole time.
No. So I'm very like I'm like more emotionally mature, and I feel like
mature.
I feel like men only mature emotionally at like 45. So anything before that is like no way.
This is your high standards girly who is mature for her age. She's not mature for her age. She's just taking Shira's advice, which is to date a weak man who is 10 to 20 years older than you, so that you can manipulate him for money. This is completely transactional and it's just about the money, but at least in Shira's case, she's honest enough to openly admit that, unlike Liz, who is a lot more secretive. So why exactly is Liz famous for giving uplifting self-help advice?
If you are going on a first date, for example, before I start dating a partner, I always say I love a man that takes care of me. I expect a man to take care of me. I like to be treated and spoiled. And so from the get-go, they know, okay, this is what it is. And also in like the second date, I wouldn't say the first date because you guys don't know each other yet, but like the second date, you already have to see like, okay, is he like trying to give me something, like flowers, even something small, doesn't matter. Is he like doing something for me? If he isn't, why are you still there? Like you're literally sitting there, you're showing everyone that you're with him. You're looking in front of people like, oh my God, I'm the man. I have this beautiful woman in front of me. But you're sitting there and you don't have anything. Why? What are you doing there? Go home.
If he's not buying you things, then why are you there? Well, maybe this woman wants to build a connection with somebody instead of acting like a hooker. Gee, Liz, I'm so glad that your primary concern for a second date is not if you get along or have similar values. You're focused entirely on if he's willing to spend a lot of money on you or not. That's not shallow or transactional to a pathological extent at all. No wonder she paired up with someone who she says was a 32-year-old man-child who she had to boss around like a mom. Again, Shira is popular on TikTok, and this is her strategy of finding a socially awkward guy who is 10 to 20 years older than you or more. They aren't getting these guys because they are inherently good women. They're getting them because they're acting like the men are their prey, which is not how you foster a fulfilling relationship that makes you happy. It's how you end up in an abusive one. This whole just have high standards and if he would strategy is so stupid and probably harming a sizable amount of women, just like red pill grifters are harming men. But men in general aren't that dumb. If you're a Toyota Corolla, men aren't going to pay the price of a Ferrari. You can't just say you're high value and you deserve more. You actually have to have value to be high value. Sure, some men will fall for it, but for every woman who successfully baits a guy 30 years older than her, there's going to be a ton of women like Danielle who are 38 and still single, because this mindset causes them to develop a never-ending list of impossible standards. And much the same will happen to men who listen to red pill grifters like Fresh and Fit or Rollo Tomasi. More importantly, I guarantee you that these women aren't getting these super chatted out cool guys who are just showering them with money. They're getting weak doormat men. Liz said her ex was weak, needy, and childish many times. That girl Nadine that I did a video on a while back was definitely with a weak man that she bossed around. And there's also this girl here.
Baby girl, come get ready with me to go on a date in 30 minutes. I am gonna be really quick because he is on his way. I've been seeing this guy for 2 months now. He's a Singaporean finance bro. He's a year older than me, and he checks most of my boxes. He always gets me flowers when I'm having a bad day, and he plans the most amazing dates. I've gone to musicals, casinos, beaches, jet ski trips, golf trips. He's a foodie, so we never run out of places to eat. He will always make reservations at the best restaurant in the city. Oh my god, it's to the point where I don't even have to use my brain or lift a finger, I swear. And for our 10th date, he surprised me with a trip to Australia. And we went on a road trip for a good 2 weeks. See, I used to have to beg my ex to spend more time with me. But this man, he flies to Jakarta every single week for me. So seriously, bestie, if he wanted to, he would.
If he wanted to, he would. So she released a different video where she interviews him, which I think was a mistake because, yeah, he's a doormat and she sounds very controlling, even when she's being playful.
Okay, I have a few questions to ask you.
Okay.
Am I your dream girl?
110%, babe.
Really?
Of course.
Why not 120?
150.
Okay, moving on. Second question. Do you believe in the concept of 50-50?
Oh no, I don't believe it's in the bill called 50-50 in that case. Like the guy has to pay lah, has to be able to at least menghidupi the girl, and be able to support the girl gitu.
Do you think that all men should be a provider man?
This is what I strive to be, but again, it's to each their own. This is the very least I could do. Because I just love spoiling you and just pampering you as much as I can.
Last question. The $1 million question. Would you still like me if I was a worm? Just say yes, just say yes, just say yes.
Yes, I would. Did I pass? Did I?
Passed.
That was like a hostage situation. The part where she negs him with the 120 and he doesn't neg her back at any point, or the way he says, "Did I pass?" is very telling. This is not a confident man. So it's just insane how many people these liars are able to fool, or even how many people pretend to be rich just so others will listen to them on social media. There's literally an entire industry built around helping female influencers pretend to be rich.
There are actually businesses that will build sets like this for anyone that needs a private jet photo shoot. Comes with your choice of paper backdrops and worn out yellow couch in the background. There have been times when self-claimed financial experts have been called out for making TikToks looking like they fly private all the time, when in reality, a pilot noticed that specific plane hasn't flown since February and they were only renting it for photo shoots. Did you know you can loan out luxury bags instead of buying them at full price?
Here's a little tea on what some influencers don't want to tell you. So get a nice box like this and then you do your little unboxing. But most of the time, these bags are loaned. So you get to loan it for a period of time for photos and videos, but you have to give it back. Don't believe everything you see. I'm not getting gifted hundreds of designer bags. They're loaned.
So with all that said, the Uptown man story with the Hermes shoe purchase and the fancy restaurant doesn't end with that video. Princess Treatment Girly actually made a series out of it. Let's see how she's doing.
Finally, we have an Uptown Man update. It's been 2.5 weeks since my first day with Uptown Man and a lot has happened. I was in Paris, 35 million men on Twitter tried to cancel me, and I got my hair done. Anywho, Uptown Man planned a sushi date night, we went to Kapamasa, and of course he called me a car up to the restaurant. He travels a lot for work, and he told me he had meetings in 3 different cities on that day. He landed back in New York just an hour before our dinner. So ladies, this is your reminder that if he wanted to, he would. Let's all adopt the let them mindset.
I'm actually surprised that she was able to pull a perfume sponsorship from this. I bet behind the scenes she's really happy she went viral. But okay, it's been 2.5 weeks. It seems like things are going well. If he wanted to, he would, so maybe I'm wrong about his intentions.
I started off with a lychee martini, and then we got a bunch of things to share. Afterward, we walked across the street to the Bemmelmans. I was only planning on having one drink, but then the bartender surprised us with another round. He even touched upon his previous relationship. I like to hear about how my date talks about their ex. Based on how they discuss their previous relationships, it says a lot about the person. I've been on dates in the past where the guy completely badmouthed their ex. I appreciate it when guys are extremely respectful of girls, regardless of how things have ended.
Again, it sounds like things are going pretty well. They have sushi, they walk across the street to a bar, have some drinks with a surprise round on the house. He talks about his ex, but he doesn't trash her. Classy. Pay attention to how people talk about their exes because breakups are common, and if you break up, that's how they'll talk about you. So overall, this sounds like a good guy, and I'm gonna take the loss on this one. Looks like there are some lessons that we can learn from our princess treatment girly.
Before leaving, we made plans to see each other later in the week, and then he called me a car back home. Having high standards and wanting princess treatment is totally okay. Ladies, find yourself an Uptown man.
Right. Perfect happy ending. Find yourself an Uptown man. If he wanted to, he would. Well, if only real life cut off like it was a classical Disney movie. So the next video, part 3, I'm just going to summarize to save time. The date does not happen the next week. It happens a month later because Uptown Man says he's busy with work. During this date, Princess Treatment Girly introduces him to her friends and emphasizes that she's also dating other guys while she's dating him.
And he did point out the fact that I'm still going on other dates, and I asked him what did he expect, because of course I'm going to go on other dates until I'm exclusive with someone.
Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems a little weird to introduce a guy to your friends who you aren't exclusively dating, but to each their own, and he said he wasn't bothered by it, so let's move on to the next update on Uptown Man.
Beware of the man who takes you to Hermes on the first date.
Oh no! What happened?
Beware of the man who takes you to Hermes on the first date? Wow, that was so unexpected. I thought this was going so well. He gave you princess treatment. He took you to a nice restaurant. He introduced you to the chef.
So this will be the last and final update on Uptown Man. Our last date was on a Friday evening for happy hour. Let's get into the details. As we're aware, he had a habit of making plans and then canceling last minute. Each time he had an excuse, often work related. However, there were times where he came up with the most bizarre story.
The funny thing is that when she said she ended it and she said this part with the bizarre excuses, women in the comments were like, how dare he? I bet this guy's hiding a wife and kids. Bro, during this 2-month or so period, she was dating several other guys. At this point, it's so obvious that he's not a priority to her. Now, if you're looking for a long-term relationship, then why would you lavish a girl with tons of gifts when she's dating other people? Right, it's because he doesn't want a long-term relationship and he's just trying to purchase sex from her.
He turned out to be quite different from the person he portrayed himself to be. He came on too strong, making big promises that he ultimately failed to fulfill.
My guess on this one is that he wasn't as rich as he was pretending to be. Spending a ridiculous amount of money on someone you barely know is not a good long-term financial plan, and she might not even be the only girl he's doing this for. So unless this guy is well into the 7 to 8 figure range, or his parents are super wealthy, this is an easy way to go broke, especially as the relationship continues and she starts demanding $20,000 purses instead of $700 shoes.
There were also minor issues that bothered me, such as his constant name dropping. Even if I did believe him personally, I'm not the one to be impressed by someone's connection.
Yeah, I know I pre-watched all this, so I already knew what was going to happen, but what did I tell you with the chef? And we know that name dropping impresses you because you stated that you were impressed that he knew the chef. It was the best part of the date.
This was the best part. At the end of dinner, he offered to bring me back to the kitchen to meet the chef at the restaurant.
So I don't often mention names unless someone needs a favor or it's needed for context for a story that I'm telling. Outside of that, it's typically seen as low class and insecure behavior to constantly name drop all of your rich and famous friends. It's the equivalent to having the constant need to say, I have $100,000 in my checking account. Nobody cares except the most vile ass kissers and leeches.
Moral of the story, while I genuinely enjoyed our time together, it became increasingly clear to me towards the end that he didn't have intentions of truly pursuing a relationship with me. I deserve someone who chooses me and prioritizes our connection. Also, I'm not gonna lie, he was a really bad kisser.
Way to have those high standards for men that you don't follow yourself. I thought you don't like it when people shit talk their exes, but now you're out here on social media sexually emasculating this guy that you dated. Also, what did I say? Bad kisser, leaves with money, constantly has to name drop, probably doesn't have a lot of experience with dating, and is a doormat like the other guys that I talked about. Now, I know this wasn't a relationship, but if I was a future prospect, I would count the he's a bad kisser line as a point against her for public shaming, especially considering that she said that after this series went viral.
We found ourselves in a difficult situation, and this was the final message I sent to him to bring closure. So ladies, if he buys you Hermes on the first date, run.
Wow, what did I tell you? Crazy how in the last video she gives the exact opposite advice as the first video. Maybe next time wait until this turns into a relationship before you go bragging on the internet about how well you're doing and before giving women advice about what kind of men to pick. Now, how many women got these great ideas from only seeing the first video and not from seeing how it all turned out? Well, fortunately, it might not be as bad as one would think because a lot of women were shitting on her too. To shift direction slightly, another big thing in this space of how to get a generous provider man is this whole law of attraction manifestation stuff. Some people get really ridiculous with it, and they think they have the power to change the weather.
So it's been raining like this all last night and this morning. But I have come to the park and decided I am going for a walk and that the rain would stop and the sun would come out as soon as I park the car, which is now within 5 minutes of parking the car. I give myself some time to work on this. You can see the rain, okay? It's been pouring. And I want to tell you guys, as a player in this simulation, I rank higher than the rain. And I told it this morning when it was coming down even harder that around 10:30, 11 o'clock, I'm going to be at the park and you are going to stop. So I'm telling the rain, stop. This is my reality. I'm going for a walk now. You have 30 seconds to come out before this video cuts off. 30 seconds. Just come out. Try it.
Yeah, so some of these people are crazy. That or she's trying to get views off of stupid people, and she just looked up a precipitation chart on Google to see which hour it was most likely to stop raining, and continuously filmed this video until it started raining slightly less. You can see the rain didn't stop, so technically she failed. Though imagine if this actually worked. Screw HARP, if the government wanted weather weapons, then they would just get like 50 TikTok girlies to aggressively try to manifest hurricanes and earthquakes to attack their enemies. So yeah, a lot of people talking about manifestation are bullshitters, but that does not mean that the base psychological principle behind it is incorrect. I think from a psychological perspective, stuff like the law of attraction and manifestation are very correct. You are what you believe and what you focus your attention on. The reality is that positive opportunities, negative opportunities, and extremely lucky conditions are all around you all the time. The people who have good things happen to them are the ones who are focusing on noticing good things, and the people who are surrounded by negativity are the ones who only pay attention to negativity. Well, also, for positivity, hard work is important too because no one's going to give you a lucky break if you're unskilled or incompetent. But this is why positive mental talk, believing in yourself, and limiting self-deprecating thoughts are so important, and why I think some of the most evil ideologies that are present today are ideologies that are spread for the purpose of demoralizing and blackpilling people. If you don't think things can get better, then they never will because you won't take the necessary action to make things better. And if everyone starts doing that, we're all screwed. How your life turns out is going to be determined by what things you focus your attention on and the decisions that you make in response to them. So first you need to work on your belief that things can be changed before anything will. If you want to lose weight, then you need to start with actually believing that you have the ability to lose weight. If you don't believe you can lose weight, then why would you try? Why would you try to overcome the challenge when weight loss starts becoming difficult? I think very much that if you can get people to believe that they can get the things they want out of life, they will start focusing on these specific ways for how to make those things happen. After that, options will appear to them because they are paying attention, or better yet, actively looking for them. Whereas the negative and demoralized people wouldn't be able to see a thing that could drastically change their life for the better if it hit them right in the face. I'm not kidding. I've watched a number of people miss the boat on some incredibly lucky opportunities because they didn't believe in themselves enough to take up the challenge. So focusing on your belief that your life can change for the better is an important first step that will lead you to noticing the specific strategies, opportunities, and lucky circumstances that you can then utilize to make good things happen. Anyway, thanks for watching, follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you in the next video.